An urban legend is a secondhand story told as true and plausible enough to be believed about some horrific, embarrassing, ironic, or exasperating series of events that have supposedly happened to a real person. That is from urbanlegends.about.com. When I think of urban legends, I think of ghost stories you would tell around the campfire or something about Bigfoot. After visiting a few websites, I found a lot more than I expected. There were some funny stories, some embarrassing stories, and definitely some horrific stories that made my skin crawl. I never thought about old wives' tales. I just thought there was something funny that my mom would say to explain certain things when I was little. I never knew they were a form of urban legends. When I read our assignment, I immediately began snooping around trying to think of something funny and creative, but I never thought about old wives' tales that I'd heard my whole life, and I'm sure that you have too. I chose this old wives' tale because everyone knows about it, and it is actually coming up this month. Multiple scary movies have been made about it, and people believe this to be the most unluckiest day of the year. This day would be Friday the 13th. I know some hotels and condos that skip the letter or the number 13 on their elevator, and even some go as far to remove the number 13 from their hotel rooms just so people will stay there. Some of the origins would include some Christian ties, like the crucifixion happening on Friday the 13th, Eve's offering the apple to Adam in the Garden of Eden, the beginning of the Great Flood, and the confusion at the Tower of Babel, all happening on a Friday and somehow happening with the number 13. That would be from Snopes.com. The ill luck did not tie into the day until the mid-17th century Western literature. For example, now Friday came, you old wives say, all the week's unluckiest day, and that was believed to be around 1656, and that is from Snopes.com. Friday was also considered unlucky when you were trying to start or begin something new. For example, giving birth. A child born on Friday is doomed to misfortune, and that was written in 1846. If you're getting married, as to Friday, a couple married on that day are doomed to live a cat and dog life. That was 1879. This one was my favorite because it was so far out there. If you hear anything new on a Friday, then that gives you one more wrinkle on your face and adds a year to your life. And that was written in 1883. And all of those are from Snopes.com. Some people also thought that the number 13 was tied to the Christian faith through the Last Supper. Judas Iscariot was said to have had 13 guests sitting at the table. He later betrayed Jesus, and that led to Jesus' hanging on the cross and Judas later taking his own life. The thought behind this 18th century tale was a warning that 13 people sitting down at a meal together presaged that one of them would die in a year. That was from Snopes.com. Superstition also held that the one to die would either be the first one who rose from the table or the one who was seated the last. This resulted in everyone sitting and standing together. On the website, there are mentioned 2 newspaper articles dealing with Friday the 13th. One was about an Oklahoma senator who introduced 13 public building bills. The other was about a minister who advertised marrying people on that day for free. These both include that horrific Friday the 13th, even though this article was saying that the minister did not believe in the unluckiness of the day. He was just advertising that for free. Now, people do not believe in urban legends too heavily anymore. Like I said before, there are scary movies and stories told about this day that are kind of like a joke. Do not get me wrong, there are some people who believe in this superstition, and even some go as far to have a phobia about it in this day and age. I believe that a person can make their own luck. I do not think that one day is going to be that horrible and bring you that much tragedy. It depends on the attitude you have when you wake up on Friday, February 13th.